you've been dealing with nagging pain that just won't go away, we're gonna go over why what you've been doing probably hasn't been working. Quick background, I'm Alejandro Ortiz. I'm a health coach and I've tried pretty much everything in order to recover from pinched nerve in my low back as well as a torn ACL in my leg. I've done yoga, biohacking, cupping, massaging, stretching, isometric work, red light therapy, foam rolling. I've done pretty much everything. I know firsthand what it's like to deal with pain, having to medicate yourself to not feel it, not being able to sleep, and having lost my own ability to enjoy a lot of the activities I like doing, and just, walking around in fear of that the next movement's gonna hurt me. I know what that's like firsthand. This framework right here has been invaluable to me and my clients. Tell me if it sounds familiar. Your elbow hurts, your shoulder hurts, your back hurts, your knee hurts, your ankle, whatever. So then you go online and you look up stretch or exercise to help with XYZ body part. Or it's really serious, unfortunately, and so you go to a PT and they give you a couple stretches, they give you some exercises and it helps, but then it just keeps coming back. Or the level of activity you can now do, PT just for safety reasons isn't really their fault. They really, really, really don't load tissues at all. Now you're more limited in what you can do day to day. For me, as far as serious injuries go, I've had a dislocated elbow from wrestling, pinched nerve in my low back, again, from wrestling, scoliosis on top of that too, torn ACL from football, full tear. I couldn't afford surgery at the time, I couldn't afford PT, so I dealt with that for 2 years. The low back, I went to PT and it felt good for the week, and then that was it. And they just told me stop wrestling, which I was not gonna do at the time. If you keep on massaging, strengthening, stretching, whatever, and it keeps coming back, then your problem is not there. Your problem's above or below. The easy example for this is the knee, because it's pretty simple. It kind of just does this. Yes, I know the tibia rotates a bit, but most of the time, if you address the ankle, that gets solved anyway. So standard knee pain advice, there's great exercises you can do like Patrick steps or Spanish squats, which will strengthen the muscles that support and protect your knee. But if your issue isn't a strength problem and it's actually a hip mobility problem, no amount of that is gonna solve your knee pain long term. Because again, the knee is very simple, it just does this. If your hip can't properly flex, then rotate both internally and externally, what happens is all the forces that come up through the leg that normally would just get transferred by a healthy, well-moving hip, they all go into the knee. That's where you end up with a lot of extra wear and tear on your knee, especially over time. This is a problem that compounds on itself. Something similar will occur at the ankle too, where if your ankle can't properly track, can't properly stretch, then again, those forces have to go up somewhere. If we go even further down towards the foot, a lot of times people end up with really stiff and tight Achilles because their feet can't properly move and splay the way they're supposed to, usually because modern footwear has that heel elevation, which essentially just keeps your ankle and your Achilles in a tight position all the time. Your feet can't absorb the forces well enough, and then boom, you end up in an Achilles injury. In some cases, it doesn't manifest as an Achilles injury, it manifests as a knee injury. Knee and ankle injuries, especially in sport, are rising at a crazy rate and expected to rise even more. This is probably one of the reasons why. Particularly in the West. Particularly in the West, we have a big problem with knee and ankle injuries. You see it all the time. Aaron Rodgers just blew out his Achilles not too long ago. The focus has just been how do I make these areas stronger and not how do I make them stronger and moving as a cohesive unit. This is a big reason why for a lot of my clients that always have them do their leg day barefoot or with some type of barefoot style shoe, always incorporate some type of tissue work along the foot to reintegrate that structure. For a lot of them in a really short amount of time, it would relieve problems like even back pain just because of how interconnected the foot in particular is to the rest of the body through the fascia. You can apply that same concept to pretty much every major joint in the body. So I'll give you an example with I had a client named Andrew. He was a lawyer. He was recovering from a rotator cuff surgery on his left side. Always get pain during pressing movements. If he rolled onto his side when he was in bed, then he was gonna wake up in pain every single night. So apart from the traditional route of just spamming rotator cuff exercises, we strengthened the shoulder as a whole and then opened up and improved the movement and movement quality of his neck and of his rib cage and his spine in particular. Immediately, that helped ease off the shoulder. Immediately. With his neck able to move better, with his spine better able to move, he took a lot of the force off of his shoulder. Because here's the thing about the human body. The human body will always find a way of getting whatever movement you ask of it done. I'm gonna repeat that. The human body will always find a way of getting the movement done. And it will do that at the long-term detriment of the body. It doesn't care. So if you cannot properly move your entire body as a unit, you're gonna end up putting extra forces and extra wear and tear on joints unnecessarily. Forces always have to go somewhere. So in his case, if his spine can't properly move in all directions and he goes to move something, the forces that would have naturally been dispersed along his spine have to go to his shoulder. The rotator cuff exercises they were giving him in PT were not addressing that underlying issue. And so it was only the 1-2 punch of addressing the area itself and then addressing the areas around it and treating the body as a unit and not being just so focused on isolation work. That was the only thing I was able to actually get him to sleep better at night and not deal with pain all the time. This is why it's so important to treat the body as a unit and not get so hyper fixated on these individual pieces. This is why biomechanics are important. And yes, biomechanics are different on an individual component. Everyone moves a little bit differently. The best squat for me doesn't look like the best squat for you. There is some crossover, there's some rules that we can generally apply over most people and from there make the necessary adaptations. The art will get better, I promise. I promise it'll get better over time. I hope. That's also why those random POV, you did this one stretch, POV, you did this one exercise, and your insert body part healed. That's why those don't work. That's why those don't work. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And your back pain went away, and you won $1 trillion, and you can shoot lasers out of your eyes, and your bench press shot up by 5 trillion pounds. Mark my words right now, I will never, ever, you will never see me become a fitness influencer that posts those type of videos. Never. The human body needs time, load, and progression to actually make long-term changes. A 2-minute stretch is not going to do that. If I ever make a video that says, POV, you did this one exercise and the love of your life proposed to you and you became the president of the US, I need somebody to find my address, take me outside to the backyard, and so if you want to actually get rid of that nagging pain and get back to your old self or even level up to a new level of physical capacity, then you need a comprehensive plan. You need to be in tune with your body and your body's mechanics, and you need consistency over time. I'm gonna say it again, consistency over time. Doing random stretches and exercises you saw on IG one time a month, or doing it for a week and stopping is not the answer. It would also be smart to assess and look at your full body to find out what potentially could be the underlying issue and serve also as a baseline to compare to in time to see if what you're doing is actually making a difference. So if you got value from this video and have been dealing with some type of nagging pain or injury, are actually willing to make changes, nothing changes until you change, you have 2 main options. Option 1, you can look for the information and spend hours and hours and hours and hours trying to find the right exercises, assessments, studying, testing it out to see if it works for you, having to deal with the setbacks of that. So you could go that route, where you try to figure it out on your own, that's taken many people years and years and years to figure out. Or you can book a call with me, can set you up a plan, and you in 90 days could feel and move like a completely different person. If you have any other questions, you can either shoot me a DM on Instagram or you can post in the comments down below. I'm very open to questions about this. I can talk about this topic forever and ever and ever, as well as put a comment down below on what you'd like the next video topic to be on.